悪くない味ね。悪くない味ね。
新発見があるといいですね。みんなと一緒。
そう、私に仕事の依頼。楽しいわ。はい。深海に誘いましょう。
これがモンテリの挨拶です。やっ宴の始まりですわ。誉れはモンテリと共に。さあやっはあ新時代へようこそ。速やかに片付けましょう。ついてこられますか。はっこれはどう。任せてください。ポトンシンセシス。
そばにいてあげるわ。受け取りなさい、海のささやきを。はあ、深淵で泳ぎなさい。
これがモンテリの挨拶です。 これで白は赤に染まった。きらめくか死ぬか、この道は二つに一つ。
One sec, some shit that just popped up. Will be resolved shortly. Just let you watch Cantarella.
Hmm. 悪くない味ね。悪くない味ね。
Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Did I do? Yeah, unlocked everything. So now it's just wrap that shit up, and I will work on Cantarella is story quest. That's crap. Although I do like the fact that they gave us these items to allow us to change the main stat. So even though those are technically still crap, I can actually swap them to whatever I want, which is nice, right? But even still, I'll still mark them as trash because like it's super easy to farm 3 costs. Like like you get enough 3 costs from running the Tacit Discord marks. So it's never like I'm never super out, or if I ever really need them, and I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have thrown those away. It's like, nah, I'll just go in, farm a few Tacit Discord, it's like go into the mark. I'll definitely get at least one. Like the biggest issue before was just the fact that you could never get the elements you wanted on the set you wanted. So like you're going in instead of you're flipping a coin to see are you going to get the set you want? Cool, you got the set you want. Oh, cool. Like and are you going to get the element you want? And that's the bigger risk because it's like 1 in 10 chance of getting the because like there's elements and also the stats. So it's like, yeah, it's a 1 in 10 chance of getting like the thing. So it's like not only are you rolling a 50, not only are you flipping a coin, are you going to get the right set? Then it's a 1 in 10 chance after that, right? So realistically, it's a 1 in 20 chance, right? Because 1 over 2 times 1 over 10, 1 over 20. That's a 1 in 20 chance of getting the right element. Whereas now, with that new thingy they added, it's now back to a 1 in 2. Because as long as you get a 3-cost echo on the right set, you can morph it into the one you want. And it's still like you'll still have to do it multiple times, and generally it's better to get ones that are already on the set. But like the fact that you can swap and be like, yeah, sure, like I got some shits, got some runs in the wrong set, might as well do it, right? Okay, there we go. Just have shit. Just need this one final thing, and then I get my new gliders. I'm not really complaining, but I was always saying, "Oh man, it would be really cool if we could get gliders, a different glider types, because like they have different glider types in Genshin, but they just have the generic this drab gray one. Now I do find it kind of annoying. It's like I don't particularly like that. Doesn't look super good. I don't know. I prefer darker colors, so I don't like that generically. And like Genshin is really good about it because they have like shitloads of gliders. There's a unique glider for every single region you're in. They give away gliders for all sorts of shit. So it's like at the moment there's like a bunch. Like there's like at least 10, right? But they also not really lock gliders, but there's a glider for every character. Each character has you can select a glider per character. So I'm not sure that this glider, it seems very unlikely that the glider will be per character. It seems far more likely that the glider will be, it seems far more likely. Oh, actually, maybe not. Oh, no, maybe the glider will be per character. Okay, so this is, oh, interesting. Wait, when the fuck did I get, wait, so this is the actual glider. Oh, this is not the glider, this is flight. When I'm flying. Oh. Wait, when did I get this then? I guess this is an event I missed because I wasn't playing the game at the time. Or maybe it's a future event. Okay. I thought this was going to be the glider. This is just purely for flight, so it's even more restrictive. But is it? Oh yeah, you can apply to all resident. Okay, so it is per character. That is cool. But you can also. Yeah, I mean it's a shame though that they have the system in place to have multiple gliders, or they have the settings in place to allow you to. They have the settings in place to allow them if they made multiple gliders. Yeah, honestly, I don't like this that much. Like the fights are actually kind of challenging, and so it's not fun. Like it's kind of like I did a co-op on it like level 16, and we lost. Our team lost. Like we all died. The fact that we have a certain number of revives is kind of shit. It's like it's not fun. Like it's challenging enough where it's just not fun if you. It's too challenging for shit like that. Like it's fine. Honestly, I think the fights up until basically, you should be able to complete this event no problem, like without worrying whatsoever. Like even when I soloed it, it took me a while. Like I still did it, right? It wasn't. I didn't die at all, right? So when I was soloing it, I didn't die at all. So it was kind of crazy. Well, okay, I did notice that there was like people on my team that were dying a lot more frequently than I was. So it's like, yeah, obviously we had some shit player who was just like eating up our revives. I think I died once or twice. I died once at the very least, and then I think by the time I died the second time, we had run out of revives, so it was game over. But it was like we had one guy who like used up 3 or 4. Like we had one guy use up our revives before we even got to the final boss. So it's just like, kind of shit. But yeah, I mean that kind of sucked. I mean, I think we went all DPS. I think. So I think that was one kind of problem with it, is because we went all DPS and had no healer, we kind of got fucked. So realistically, some of us should have been a healer. Cantarella heals. Does she heal all party members if she's in the... Does she heal party members in co-op? Because I know she heals your party members as well. I forget who I was, too. I thought I was Cantarella, but... Either way. I don't know, maybe I got unlucky. Like, maybe my 2 allies were kind of shit. So, like, maybe they, Okay, so this is Zanny, right? This is... Yeah, it says right there. Okay, cool. Select this one. Let's go back to Cantarella. Let's do this shit. But yeah, so it was kind of a little frustrating because, like, we ended up wiping because we had died too many times. And then I did it solo, and there was 0 deaths. And, like, we had 0 deaths because I have a healer. I went in with I think I went in with just this team. So I went in with Carlotta, Cantarella, and Verena. So I went in with this team perfectly. So I was able to, like, if I was ever low on health, with Cantarella healing and then being able to swap to Verena, and I was like swapping to Verena intentionally too, like, because it seemed like the name of the game was to use the cubes. So it's like whenever you can swap, hot swap over, use their cube, and swap to the next. Like, it seems like that's the main way of doing it, because the cubes are where you do shitloads of damage. So maybe that was the problem, is that maybe the other team members were not using their cubes as much. So, whatever. Either way, it was kind of annoying. It was kind of frustrating and annoying. The fact that there was a revive cap, they should just not have had that. Like, I think there was a timer anyway, so it's like, just make it a timer, right? And because, like, for the first 20 levels, like, you get the 20 levels, but then at the 20th level, then you do this, like, I don't know, like, boss wave, boss rush kind of thing. There's, like, some final level beyond that, so, like, it seemed like the quest goes up to level 20, and then you beat the final boss at 20, and then there's, like, this beyond the 20 thing to do, and that's kind of like the end game thing. Like, put the challenge there. You want to put a challenge, put it there, right? So, I don't know, maybe those aren't supposed to be challenging. I mean, I wasn't super challenged, although it did take a while. So even though I didn't die when I did level 16, it did take a while for me to kill him. Like, there's just so many enemies. You have to fight so many enemies. As well as bosses. It's like, here, beat 2 or 3 waves of enemies, then like 2 to 3 big bosses, and then that's it. It's like, and then you have like a 10 minutes to do it all. It's like, dude, it's a little too challenging, and I think it's probably because our team just wasn't great. Like, I think it's probably because they probably didn't have good cubes. And so, because it seems like the cubes are like the main source of damage. Like the cubes are supposed to really ramp up your damage. And I think perhaps maybe choosing the cube I did. So I chose the Camellia cube because it's really good in AoE. The fact that it spins this little vine in a huge AoE is really, really useful. But the problem is you're stuck in vine form doing that. So you're not doing any additional damage, you're just doing Vine's damage, and that's it. Whereas if your other cubes that are just like set and forget, where it's like, oh, okay, they're gonna lay down a shitload of damage all near you, while it's laying down damage, you can continue attacking. So I assume that they would make Camellia's damage ramped up to account for the fact that you personally aren't doing any damage at the time, but it's hard to say. So I don't know if it was my personal damage that was sucking, or maybe my allies didn't have good cubes, and the fact that they were dying frequently, it definitely obviously sucks. So at this point I could probably co-op it, and now everyone's like level up their cube, and maybe 17, 18, and 19, and 20 won't be super bad. But it did feel a little too challenging for something that should be relatively easy. Especially for an event, right? It shouldn't have been that challenging. I've never seen a co-op event be that challenging. It's always been like usually a walk in the park. Maybe like one death, but it's like or one wipe, because it's like people just die. And we didn't have a healer, so it's like, yeah, it's understandable. But this one was like, it just felt like we weren't doing enough damage, which is actually a problem. It's like, dying is one thing. Not doing enough damage is another. Hey, it's Cantarella's chili. So yeah. So it's like if you're dying, it's whatever. It's like if you're dying, you just get a healer, problem solved, right? When you're not doing enough damage, especially when you're like 3 DPS on the team, because like if you're dying and you have 3 DPS, fine. So one person swaps from DPS to healer, problem solved, right? But for us, it was like we're 3 DPS, and it felt like our damage was not doing enough, which is like, well, shit, like. If we're not doing enough damage as DPS, if we're not doing enough damage when we have all DPS, then we kind of suck. So hopefully it wasn't me, but we'll see. It does kind of put me off though. Like, who wants to go back and do a fight where it's excessively challenging when it's just an event? And like, I don't want to have to solo it. Like, I do enjoy doing the co-op. Co-op is a little more fun because I can just like focus on my one character and just like focus on doing damage and fiddling with my rotation. Whereas like if I'm when I was in my party of 3, I was like constantly swapping. I was like, swap to this, use my cube, swap to this, use my cube, swap to this. Like, oh my god, do this, do this, do this. It was like super hectic, and it's not as enjoyable. Even though I didn't die and I was still able to clear it, so it's like, so I'm just kind of like, it's easier if you co-op, because you just have to focus on your one character doing your one thing. And that's why I want to co-op, so I can just kind of relax and enjoy it. But then when you wipe, obviously that's not fun, because you just wasted your time. I'm implying she has huge tracts of land. Yeah, she's very pretty. All the like, she has a very pretty face. Her like makeup and her like sparkles and all that shit. Like, she's very, very well designed. She's like ridiculously hot. Like, she is just, she's like the epitome of feminine beauty, and like Zani is like the epitome of a handsome beauty. You know, like Zani is super hot too, but she's kind of like super hot in like the sporty type of way. You know, like she's, I guess, it's more masculine, but like but still, it's more masculine in the sense like she is wearing a suit essentially, right? Like, but she still is, incredibly feminine. So yeah, like Cantarella is like the epitome of the feminine beauty, and then I guess you could say Vizani's the epitome of the masculine beauty for women, in a way. Because like she has a normal state, but then she also has her like state where she goes on fire and he's even hotter. But yeah, so they do really, really well with those two. And I saw Cartithia's animations. Like you mostly play. I mean, her default state is the tiny form, but it seems like I think when she does her skill, like I assume she goes into big form, and when she does her burst, she's in big form. Well, I guess they did her burst in big form. I'm not sure if the burst animation is the same for big and small form. Like if she goes big form, like if you're in small form and you go do her burst, will she stay in small form or will she go big form just for that? But I do know that when they were doing her skill, she goes big form to do her attacks. It seems like kind of a burst mode, kind of like Zani. And then they just did her burst from that big mode. I don't know if that's a requirement, but it definitely looks really cool. She's definitely pretty hot in big form.
そうだった。あなたは初めてよね。大丈夫。
Yeah, they knew what they were doing with that shot.
少しずつ教えてあげるわ。忘れられない夜を一緒に過ごしましょう。
Yeah, she's just very, very pretty. Like the little sparkles around, little dots around the eyes, the beauty mark, the like tear thingy, matching her hair color. I mean, I like also women with long hair too, so that's good. And I mean, good Jesus, like the biggest tits in the game, I'm pretty sure, that are just like out and around and bouncing. Like Zani might be as big, but they're like constrained within a t-shirt, so they don't jiggle as much as that. So like they knew what they were doing. They know how to revitalize the game. I assume they saw Zenless Zone Zero's shameless promotional videos and were like, okay, yeah, we get it. We know what characters we have to make to be popular.
So, どうやら私たちの趣向は近そうね。
Yeah, like her tacit marks on her tongue. I wonder if that actually like does anything. Does that mean she can't like taste? Because like the tacit mark is, I mean, it's just a weird thing. Like you channel power through it. Like when she does her burst, it glows. It glows, but does that like do anything, or is it like not an actual physical thing? Right? It could just be like a portal to another dimension, because that's kind of how it feels like. Like, so it might not actually even physically exist there. It looks like it's there, but if you like touch it or whatever, it's like it still would feel her. You would still feel her tongue completely. So it's not like it's not like it's a tattoo imprinted on it. It might just be like a metaphysical mark, so we can see it, but we can't in any other way interact with it whatsoever. It just like that's the point. That's the point in space where it resides, and that's it.
当然この世界に悪魔なんて存在しないけれど、彼らとの取引にお金は不要よ。まあ、悪くない決まりでしょ。すべての謎を集めて正しい答えを導き出し、どんな飛躍を選んだっていい。石を金に変える飛躍、永遠に若さを保たせる飛躍、そして生き返りの飛躍。言葉通り何でもよ。それじゃ一緒に探しに。私は 薬は材料だけでなく作る工程も大切。でもだからこそ
Yeah, I want the gold. Like, give me my money. I don't need dead people back. Because, like, the whole returning the dead back to life thing, like, there are too many monkey paw situations where that could go horribly wrong, right? It's like, oh, I brought them back, but they're a zombie. Or I brought their physical body back, but their soul is not there. So it's like, yeah, I brought back a creature that looks exactly like them, but they are completely... Well, a teeth isn't a tooth. A tooth is one teeth. Yes. A single sheep is a sheep.
飛薬でも毒薬でもあなたが隣にいてくれるなら作ってみせるわ。Offer your soul, surrender your flesh, give all you have, call the lost from their rest.
Ha 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 ha.
不思議な歌だね。
悪かったわ。でもこれが冠婚祭の歌なのよ。この奇妙にも感じる周波数を口ずさむことで
I mean, you could just stay along the sides of the train and where it's 180 degrees. It's even hotter.
一つ目の露点が現れたはず。
So if you get an aisle seat, or not aisle seat, a window seat, it should be 180 degrees.
そこの二人は空の一番星をつかみ取り、もしくは
私たちは幽霊少女の一つ目の謎が知りたいだけ。あなたならわかるでしょ。どんなに小さな魚でも宴会のオードブルには悪くないわ。
ただでもらえるものなどこの世には存在しない。どんなに取るに足らないものでも、例えば喋るパンや水に溶ける油。月桂冠が。
Are we gonna dance? Oh, oh no, I see it's going. I mean, okay, but like, I don't think we've ever done this ever. We've never conjured music from our tacit mark. Like, so I do find that a little weird. That it's just like, why do we have this ability that we've like literally never used ever in the entire game? And there's like, yeah, we're just gonna have you do this. It's like, why? Like, I assumed we were actually like get a dance or something because we could dance, or like you could just easily just say, have us bring out an instrument, right? Because like it's easy to solve that, right? Like we bring out some a flute or something, and then we could say that the bard that we saw in the last patch, or is it this patch? But the bard we interacted with, we could say, yeah, she gave us as a parting gift. She gave us this instrument, or like we were given this instrument from Jinzo somewhere, right? Like you could easily explain us actually performing something, but now you're just like, yeah, we can just like produce music from our hands somehow. And like they've always kind of played with the idea that, oh, we all have frequencies, and obviously a frequency, like sound is a frequency too. So it's not crazy to think that we could produce actual sound using the frequencies generated by our tacit marks. But it also is like you also do need to explain that shit, right? Like just to give us a new power, just to have us do some ridiculously minor part of the quest. Like there are so many more logical things you could do instead.
時間の旗織り機で命を織りなすような音。約束通り、かつて少女たちはセイレーンの歌に引き寄せられ町を出た。 向かった先は、これが今夜のテーマ、幽霊少女の一つ目の謎。天の音を聞かせてもらった俺、さあこのオルゴールを今、
さっきの人ちょっと大げさだ。
そうかしら。そのオルゴールも、あら、すね。
上から見るとなんだかリンゴに見えない？
マモンはオードブルの他に次の行き先に見当が。
ここに来た理由は知っている。ずば抜けた洞察力と気概がなければ手に入るのは食べ残しだけ。せいぜい灰と共に味わうといい。
魚の腹ごしらえにすらならないものなんて、私の隣にいるのはこの世すべてのご馳走にふさわしい方よ。ここには最もみずみずしいリンゴを求めに来たの。
ならば試してみるといい。一つ選んでみるといい。その下に果たしてあなた方が望むものはあるだろうか。
それかしら。
噂通り毒薬の目はこの幸運はただのオードブルだ。二つ目の謎は真っ赤なリンゴ。列に並んだ少女が受け取ったリンゴは光り出した。いや、なぜ海にリンゴが？これは幸運なのか、それ。
リナシータの住人はよくコイントスで占いをするわ。表が出たら幸運と神に従え、裏が出たらこの人形たちは最後の謎。
青紫色の服に深海の飾り。フィサリアファミリーの人じゃないかな。
フィサリア？昔のシュザにフィサリアファミリーでの人がいたっけ？
それ
教団とミス。
今夜のテーマ、幽霊少女だったよね。
ああ、数年前に街で。
一番綺麗な人形はどれだろう。この子は目が綺麗、この子は鼻が高い、この子は口が鮮やか。みんな綺麗だけどまだねえ、この中で一番綺麗な子は誰だと思う？幸運の赤帽子。そうだわ、ここは神様に大丈夫よ、神様に。じゃあ最後にて幽霊少女3つ。女の子は赤いダンスシューズを履いて鮮やかなボーラーハットをかぶり、終幕の演技に。よし、これで全部の手がかりを手に入れたでしょ。グツグツ煮える大釜からどんな答えが得られるのか。
3つの謎は海を泳ぐ魚のように流れ着いてきたわ。ただ少しばかり海藻が絡まっているけれど。それじゃあどうやって解こうかしら。長らく放置されてパーツが欠けている。今流通しているものではなさそうね。最近このオルゴール、おそらくだいぶ古いものでしょう。私は小さい頃よく精巧なまだ仕組みは覚えているかもしれない。あら、月桂冠の演奏。
舞台始まる。今のは頭が少し休みを。
ごめんなさい。私としたことが気づけなかったなんて。そろそろ戻りましょう。リサレイ海嶺なら私の城で少し休みましょう。
Which, you know, I get it. I understand that they're trying to get us to go here. But, like, the idea makes literally no sense, right? You do realize we were inside the black holes known as, whatever those cores were? Structo cores or whatever. Like, structo cores, what? It was like the things that we use to power the Tethys system. I don't know what they're called again. There's something something called core, like Destructo core or whatever like that. But basically, it was a contained black hole from one of the catastrophe events. But it's like, dude, we were literally in there with shitloads of spirits, right? Like, we've hung around spirits many times before, so it's kind of weird that all of a sudden now we're having an issue that we've never had before that requires medication. It's also incredibly suspicious that she provided us medication when she's also a known poisoner. But, you know, I don't think she's going to fuck us over too much. But even still, it's just like, we've dealt with spirits many times before. We've gone to many locations surrounded by the dead. By, you know, so it's all like crazy that all of a sudden just interacting with this triggers us more than anything. Like, oh, well, there's a lot of spirits around. It's like, we've been around lots of spirits before. Hell, we were at that location in the southern part where there's like a bunch of weird shit flying in the sky. I assume those were spirits too. So it's like, you know, So it makes no sense that we would be affected by spirits when we've never been affected by spirits before. Even, you know, even with inside the, like, even when inside the cores, which are literally the dead spirits who are constantly being tortured by having to relive the catastrophe that ended their area, right? Like, they're constantly living through that shit. In fact, we met a spirit who came out and met us in that destroyed bay in Jinzo, the one with all the red flowers and shit. She was a spirit from within one of those cores, and we went to the fucking Black Shore and went inside one of those cores and interacted with them. And like, I think we were kind of affected then, but it's like, yeah, that makes sense because there's these people were like suffering, but like somehow meeting one spirit who's kind of suffering a little bit far away from where they were actually maybe killed, just because there's a lot of spirits. It's like, why would we be affected? Especially when like we're supposed to be like super fucking strong. Our tacit discord, our tacit mark is able to absorb like everything. Yet somehow we can't absorb these negative frequencies and be fine. Like what? That makes no sense. And I get it, right? I understand. It's a plot device essentially. They're like, oh well, we need to give a good reason to move on to the next location. I mean, to be fair, we were just told to go to this location, investigate the spirit. So, but that's the weird things. We were just told to go here to investigate the spirit. We don't need a reason to go here. We don't need a reason for Cantarella to be like, oh, let me take you home and I can give you some tea to help you out, help calm your nerves. It's like, no, we don't need that. You don't need to add this bullshit. It makes no logical sense because our tacit mark should be stronger than this. We've interacted with spirits before, even tortured ones, and we didn't have any sort of issue. So why all of a sudden dealing with the relatively mild ones at this, at this Halloween-like event, are we all of a sudden affected in a way we've never been before, right? Like, that makes no sense. And they keep touting us as this super-powered being who's, like, immortal and has all these fucking powers. And yet, so I guess interacting with too many spirits is too much for us? Like, really? Like, we've had to have interacted with so many things before, and yet supposedly this is the thing that broke the camel's back, right? Really? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, it makes no sense. You shouldn't have, you don't even need it, right? It could have just been like, we touch her head and be like, oh, we need to go to her garden. All we have to do is be like, hey, Cantarella, I attune to the spirit. It seems to be related to your home. Do you mind if we, head over there and check it out? She would have said yes, and we would have gone here, right? And then she could have just been like, sure, but like, now that we're here, let us rest a bit before starting the investigation, right? So we can maybe chat, right? So it's like there's so many ways to do it, and they just did it in a really stupid, unnecessary way that just opens up new plot holes. Like, why were we affected by this spirit when we've never been affected before, right?
その身にかけられた呪いはまだ解けそうにないけれど、少し症状を和らげるくらいならできるわ。
Oh yeah. I forgot. I guess that is one thing that was unique about this. We got a letter, and supposedly that letter represents a curse that, like, despite our nigh omnipotent powers and the ability to absorb all frequencies, of which this curse would be a frequency, apparently we cannot absorb that. So, does it make sense? No, of course not. Of course it doesn't make fucking sense. The problem is that they've set our character up to be far too powerful, and pretty much godlike. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you're immortal. You're the one who made the Tethys system. You're the one who did this. You're the one who made Shorekeeper. You're the one who did this. Like, you have all these ridiculous powers. You know, you were the owner and master of Jue, who helped create Jinzo. It's like, you were the master and owner of the Sentinel, I guess, at some point. So it's just like, so we had all these ridiculous powers, and it's just like, but they're just like, yeah, And that's the problem, is that they give us all these ridiculous powers, like, oh yeah, you're the only one who can solve this, you're the only one who can resonate with this, you're the only one who can do this, you're the only one who can do this. And then it's like, oh, and by the way, this incredibly minor thing is apparently impacting you. It's like, what? So we kill gods, absorb Thenodians wholesale, and yet somehow we can't deal with a curse left by a random spirit? A spirit that shouldn't even be affecting us. Like, why isn't Cantarella being affected, right? You know, like, it's a ghost that occurred on her family's territory. You'd think the residents of this mansion would be the ones cursed. Why were we cursed? Like, you think our inherent ability, you think our ability to absorb all frequencies would have just automatically, instinctively absorbed it the second it got close. Once we saw it was, like, harmful, right? So it's just like, that's why I never really liked the fact that they keep just, like, touting our character as, like, as strong as they are. Because it's like, there's been, like, at least 5 events, where, like, we're literally the only one in the world who can do that. Who can do something, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're the only person who can do this. You're the only person who can help this. Yeah, we tried this before, but you're the only one who can react with this or that and do this. It's like, yep. Apparently we're the only ones who can resolve this issue. So, like, and they just keep saying, oh yeah, you're immortal, and you can do this, and you can do that. And it's just like, Jesus. So it's like, it's fine. I think they've just gone too far. There's just been too many moments. Like, they've made us too, like, powerful, which just kind of cheapens everything, because it's like, because generally, like, it's the same kind of, like, as, like, those isekai stories where it's like, oh yeah, the guy comes in, but he's super weak, and so he's, like, thought of as useless, and then he gets kicked to the curb, but then it turns out his ability, like, no one really understood his ability, or his ability is just, like, a slow build one, where it's like, yeah, he has the ability to absorb other abilities or something, or absorb powers. So it's like, yeah, obviously you start like shit, but once you have absorbed enough powers, then you become super fucking powerful, right? That kind of shit. Like, where it's like, but then usually those stories kind of by the end are kind of boring, because you're so powerful you can resolve everything, right? And so usually what happens with stories like that is they write the character to be stupid. They're like, oh, well, you have enough power to resolve this instantly, but we're gonna have you do something, like, we're gonna have the character make the wrong choice, or be negligent, or do something. Essentially, they just essentially handicap the character artificially just to make the plot happen, which feels cheap and it feels like shit, right? Like, Strike the Blood does that very well too, where you have a guy who has the very powerful vampire powers, and he never trains or gets better at his vampire powers ever. Like, when he's not in active battle, he does literally nothing to help himself, to improve his life and improve his, how well he's going to handle shit. So every single time, he's always the underdog, because it's always like, oh shit, he's been brought into another situation where he needs to use his powers, but because he never uses his powers, he doesn't really know how to use them that well. So he has to, like, So he has to like essentially relearn how to use his powers and then use them. And then once the issue is resolved, you think, oh, okay, well, after a few times of getting fucked over like this, you think he'd start to train, right? You know, figure out, okay, well, I keep getting wrapped up in this shit. I really should learn how to use my powers and be able to use them on command and be able to use them more efficiently. But no, issue resolved. Okay, time to go back to school. Time to live my nice little boring life until the next volume where another shitstorm happens and I'm forced to pick up the slack and, you know, learn essentially how to reuse my powers again because I didn't bother working hard at all. It's like, it just feels like shit because it's like, you've made this, you've within the story, you've set up the character to be powerful, and then when he uses his powers, it's resolved. But you just make it so that he never uses his powers, or that there's a lot of issues with using his powers that have to be resolved before he can do them, and then once he does them, he gets instantly resolved pretty much. And so it's just like, and these are things that he could work on outside of battle, in between shitstorms, but he never does. And I also Tuaru no Magic no Index, a certain magical index, I think is the translated name for it. It's identical to that too. So I think it was Kazuma. Kazuma has the ability to dispel any psychic or magical power by touching it with his right hand, right? That's his ability. Nothing else at all, right? Just that. If an ability touches his right hand, it gets instantly dispelled no matter what it is. No matter what type of godlike power it is, instantly dispelled. However, it has to touch his right hand. If it does not touch his right hand, it doesn't do shit. So essentially, the easy way to solve the issue is to just hit him with your power anywhere but his right hand. Okay, yeah, sure. But of course, he's going to try to, if you send a blast towards him, he's going to try to touch it with his right hand to dispel it, right? But that's basically how it is. It's like, but he's otherwise a very ordinary guy. He's like an ordinary guy, relatively poor, just is not thought of super well because he's in a country of people. He's in a school of people who are being trained to unleash their latent psychic powers and essentially become superhumans. But because he doesn't have any ability besides the ability to dispel powers with his right hand, but that doesn't trigger by itself, right? So he can't just like go onto a sports field and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to use my ability now. It's like, no, someone would have to attack him. And he could dispel it, but that's it, right? So he's thought of as incredibly weak, and realistically he is. Like, he can't do anything. He's not like, he can't like, he's not generating anything, he's just stopping stuff. But basically what he ends up doing for pretty much every fight is, trying to get close to the person attacking him, and then punching them with his right hand. Dispelling powers along the way. So using his right hand to dispel as much as he possibly can, and then punch him with his right hand, because no matter what kind of barriers or buffs or whatever they have, his right hand can dispel them, and then of course he punches them out, right? And that's basically his MO. Get close to the enemy, punch him with his right hand. That's all he does. So you'd think, after the first few times, that a similar situation has come about, you'd think one of the things he would start doing is, I don't know, learning martial arts. Learning martial arts. I would start running as well, build your stamina. Because most of the time he's running towards them, so being able to have good stamina. And then I would learn martial arts so that you can defend yourself and properly apply your right hand to them when you need to, right? If you learn martial arts, you might be able to deflect things well and know how to dodge and all that shit. So, learning martial arts and improving your stamina would be the ways he could improve himself for the future. Does he ever do that? No, never. Literally never. He never asks anyone for help about how to learn anything. No martial arts training, no running to improve his stamina and athletic ability, nothing. Every fucking volume is the same fucking thing of him getting absolutely steamrolled by the other people because he's not able to properly dispel their power because, let's say you shoot a fireball, right? You shoot a fireball at him, he can dispel the fireball. You shoot the fireball at his feet, causes an explosion. The explosion will still hurt him and hit him, you know? So, like, there are easy ways to kill him, you know? Hell, you can shoot a fireball at his foot and blast his foot off. As long as he's not able to touch the fireball with his hand before it hits his foot, you can destroy his foot, right? It's super easy. And he just never learns. Every fucking volume is the same fucking thing. Oh no, here's the shitstorm that's happened. Okay, well I'm just going to charge in there like an idiot to try to dispel their powers. And I have a really hard time of it because I'm just a normal teenager who has not trained in any way whatsoever and has no stamina, has no real actual ability. And that's how every volume goes. Now, I exaggerate a little bit. Not every volume revolves around him, too, so there are times where he has help from other powerful beings, and they're able to put him in a situation where he can do what he does. So he does get support in that way, but he's not improving himself in any meaningful way in between any of the volumes. Ever. And it's just frustrating, right? Because essentially, they're just making... And then like, he even has a catchphrase where it's like, oh, you know, how misfortunate he is. He just screams out like misfortune, or how basically exclaiming how misfortunate he is. But in Japanese, it doesn't like it's not a great one-to-one translation for that. But it's like, sure, you know, shit has happened to you. You live hand to mouth because you're trying to feed a random girl you picked up off the street. So yeah, I get it, right? It's tough. But the fact of the matter is that a big reason of his misfortune is him and his inability to try to improve his situation. He just bitches and moans about how unfortunate he is without trying to do anything to actually improve his lot in life. And that's just it. And so it kind of gets old, right? Like, the only thing that really carries it is just how fantastical and interesting the plot is for everything else around it, right? Like, the politics of the world are very interesting because there's a lot of like back and forth between Academy City and magicians. So Academy City and like psychics and stuff and mutants versus like magicians across the world, and religion has a factor too. Like there are gods, and gods manifest their power in the world. So like there is that shit, right? So like it's a really like, and that's pretty much what's carrying it, right? His inability, his incompetence, and his inability to try to improve his lot in life while constantly bemoaning it is annoying, and I think that's like one of the worst parts of the series. Like, it's fine for a little bit, right? Sure, like, you don't expect this shit to happen all the time, so you don't think you need to change. But like, when they've gotten to 30 plus volumes, and you've gotten to 30 plus types of shit, like, how have you not learned to try to do better with your life? Like, how have you not tried to learn martial arts? Because like, he's gotten injured, gravely injured many, many times. And it's like, if you were more athletic, if you knew some martial arts, you might have been able to like mitigate some of the damage. But he's like, nope, I'm just gonna run straight in and try to punch them with my right hand. That's all I'm gonna do. And so it's kind of like this in this game too, where they just like, well, like, we're not trying to, well, so it's not exactly like this, obviously. We are trying to improve our lot in life. We are trying to do this character in modern ways. It is trying to do things. But the problem is, my point is that these storytellers are essentially writing their characters to be stupid, right? So the guy who doesn't train in his vampire powers, the guy who doesn't train in martial arts so he can use the only ability he has that requires him to be within touching distance, the fact that he doesn't train himself in any way to make that easier for himself. The author is essentially writing these characters to be dumb. It doesn't fit the setting at all. He's just writing them to be stupid. He's just writing them to be like, okay, you're going to do this. Why are you doing this? Why are you not trying to do better? Well, because yeah. Why are you not trying to do better? Because we need the plot to go. And this is basically the same thing. It's, why is this even affecting us when we are as powerful as they've supposedly kept, if we're as powerful as they keep telling us through all the events we've done in this game, how the fuck are we affected by a curse from a random spirit from a house completely unassociated with us? Like, yeah, we know Cantarella, yeah, sure, we visited here once, but like, we are not part of this place. We don't live here. How are we, like, we are so much more powerful than literally everyone else who lives in this mansion, and yet somehow we're the one who got affected by a spirit that's haunting their mansion instead of any one of them? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you set us up to be this ridiculously powerful being who is maybe immortal and has the power of essentially a god to some sort of degree, and you're like, yeah, and you got affected by a curse from a random girl's spirit. It's like, what? So you're writing in a plot hole just to move the plot along. Like, it could have literally been any other spirit, right? It could have been Cantarella coming to us and being like, I'm here to do some research because, like, one of the maids or one of the butlers is affected by a curse, right? They're bedridden right now because they seem to be cursed. And so I came to this spirit thing to see if I could maybe commune with their spirit. And then they met us, who did commune with the spirit, right? So she could be like, hey, it seems like you've formed a connection to the spirit through the clues that were left here. I have someone who's cursed at home. Do you think you could come help, right? So we aren't affected, and our nigh godlike ability would explain how we were able to resonate with the spirit, right? Perfectly logical, makes sense. We are very, very powerful. It makes sense we'd be able to attune to even the weakest of spirits, but like having us be actually affected by it makes no sense. It should have been someone from her family, or her mansion. Someone from her mansion should be the one cursed, and her coming to that location would be her investigating that spirit. As I said, easy fix, 100% super easy, makes total sense. I mean, maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, then maybe leave a comment down below, or perhaps maybe a better thing. Maybe I'm missing something. Perhaps maybe I'm not thinking of every situation. But I think that the way I just explained it would make total logical sense. It would explain why she's there. We could have just been invited there for the spirit thing. Like, we don't need to be cursed by a letter. It could have just been like, hey, we have a Halloween festival. Why don't you come visit, right? And then while we were there, we were able to resonate with that girl. Easy, So easy to write it like that. I don't know why you have to write it in a way that makes no sense based on our character setting. But anyway, I've ranted a little too long. I just get frustrated on this. Like, Wuthering Waves could be so good. Like, they do some really good moments at times, right? There's a lot of times where, like, the action scenes they do and the cutscenes they do are, like, really good, But the problem is it's just not consistent. It's never like, oh yeah, their story is amazing from start to finish. It's like, no, the story is kind of like, has a few good moments here and there, and then it's like glued together or haphazardly, right? It's like stapled together. Like, there are just problems with the story. It doesn't mesh well. It doesn't sync up well. They write in obvious plot holes where it's like, why did you write in a plot hole like that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why do that? Just like, don't stop fucking around, basically. Anyway, so I don't know. Actually, I guess I've been walking for an hour and 17 minutes, I guess. Have I really been doing that? I got distracted once or twice, but I mean, it's been a while, and I'm like super sweaty right now because it's ridiculously hot. Okay, so I think actually we'll call it a day. I guess I should have not ranted as much. Got like 10, 20 minutes of the quest actually done and an hour of ranting. Well, I mean, I guess I did do some of my resin spending and all that shit. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it for now. And I will maybe play this more tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe not, because like tomorrow is the weekly reset, so I could do other things like Hollow Zero or Genshin's weekly bosses or whatever. But I will be continuing this quest. Like, although I do complain about the plot holes and the poor writing, basically, as I've always said, is they can write some really good scenes, but they are really bad at connecting them. And their connections often are just incredibly contrived or make no logical sense based on the world that they've created, which is a shame, and I do think it ruins the immersion for the game. And I think the game would feel much better if they just didn't do such obviously stupid plot holes. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.